Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Stop the Internet Podcast. I'm Kelee.
I'm Erin.
We're back with a part 2. Highly requested, kind of.
I don't know how much further I can go into some of the points that I made.
I know. I was thinking that.
We did get a lot of response on our Justice for the Single Friends episode. And a part 2 is highly demanded.
We're going to dig deeper into situations and specifics revolving around the points we made in our part 1, which is titled Single Friend Reparation. So if you didn't listen to that, you can go back. It was from a few weeks ago. So just scroll just a little bit, listen to that, Single Friend Reparations, and then come back and you can join us for this episode. Or you can just listen to this one. I feel like we'll be making the same point. I don't know.
Repeats myself for 1 hour straight.
Yeah, basically. I do think it's funny because I've been in a relationship for so long, but I was single for so long that I just am so heated about these things.
People did ask me if you and your boyfriend broke up after the last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were like, this is all hypothetical, right? I was like, yes.
Are they
Well, it's not hypothetical. It's real life. But,
right.
You know.
Yes. But I feel like I'm very good at putting myself back into situations, like headspaces, and speaking from how I felt at the time, to the point where I was talking about these old friends that I had, and I was like getting like heated and passionate talking about them. And my friend was like, it seems like this is like really on your mind and you like haven't healed from this at all. And I was like, oh no, I actually never think about this at all.
But now that we're here.
Except in conversations like this where it's specifically brought up.
Right.
And I am good at like reminiscing and just feeling the feelings that I had at the time and speaking on them with the same burning passion, even though like 99% of my time I am not thinking about this, probably even more than 99% of the
like
time.
I'm thinking about it because you brought it up, but if we're going to talk about it, I'm going to go in.
Exactly. So it's not that I'm not over it. It's just that
you brought it up.
you brought it up. So if I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk.
Right.
So should we just dive right in?
Probably.
The topic that went the most viral and got the most conversation going was the conversation about the weddings and the plus ones. I will say a majority of the people that joined in on that conversation agreed with us because they were like, my friends that are couples don't understand this. And
that's the problem. That's truly what it comes down to.
And someone said something that was so true. And I feel like we kind of touched on it without saying it, but the problem isn't that I don't have a plus one. The problem is that everyone else does.
Exactly.
And that is so true. Like that person said it so well and just so simply. We did kind of touch on the fact that when you're in your early 20s, like right out of college and like all your college friends are single and they're all going. Okay.
Different
I understand.
vibe.
Yes. Different story. But it's when you're growing up and you're reaching your maybe even mid 20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s. There are people commenting that are like, I'm like 30, 40, 50, it never ends. I still don't have a plus one.
That's insane.
I'm like, no, that is actually crazy.
Shoot!
Like at
I'm
that
in
point,
trouble.
But also I get that like if you don't have the best relationship with them, you're like, I don't care. Like I have to invite you just because my mom is making me invite you. But I just feel like it's so strange that people that are getting married, that budget isn't a thing and space isn't a thing. Those people are like, no, I don't want your weird ass Tinder date.
What they're worried about is like the pictures or just a stranger being at their wedding, when in actuality, you will never see or notice this person.
Yes.
You will not know they're there unless you want to know they're there.
That is such a good point. And that's something that I didn't even understand about some of the comments. Like some people are saying like, I'm a bridesmaid in a wedding and I still didn't get a plus one because the bride didn't want a stranger in all the photos. I'm like, wait. What do you mean in all the photos? The plus ones of the bridal party shouldn't be in the photos, even if they're married. Like the only people in the photo should be the bridal party. And then maybe if you want to get one couple's portrait or one like group photo on the dance floor or like at cocktail hour, the people that are just like get together and smile, like you're not getting these formal portraits of people that are random and like not that you don't know. Like as a bride, like you're not going out of your way to be like, you're plus one and me, let's go. Like you're not even going to notice them. They're gonna blend in with the bartenders, the staff, the vendors, the manager of the venue. Like there are so many people that people are like, oh, I don't want strangers. There are going to be strangers at your your wedding, and you are not going to notice them. So
literally,
why do you care if your friend breaks on?
I've literally been to weddings where like the coordinator is like on the dance floor dancing, and I'm like, if you want that in your photos, but you're worried about me having a good time, having a +1 in the background of a group shot on the dance floor at 11:30 p.m. with the flash and it's all blurry, you got your priorities all kinds of out of whack.
Yes.
Like, you are not going to see this person, and if you do, is it truly going to ruin your wedding photo album?
I know. It's not, because also when you get your wedding photos delivered, there's going to be like 1,500 photos.
Right.
So if there's one photo that's number, like, I'm not even kidding, by the time you're getting to the reception photos, it's like 1,349, and you see one picture of your best friend dancing with her date, whoever it is, whether it's a romantic date or a friend or a sister or a cousin, like whatever, and they're having the best time, like, in the photo, and you're gonna be like, I can't believe they were at my wedding.
That stranger.
A stranger. Like, okay, like,
your bartender's a stranger. The guy serving you dinner is a stranger. He's gonna be in the back of a photo here or there.
Your wedding photographer is a stranger, and they're gonna be with you through every single intimate moment throughout your entire day. They're probably gonna see you change. They're gonna see you cry. They're gonna see everything, yet you don't want one stranger on the dance floor. They are a stranger.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be on the dance floor as a stranger. Another comment that I saw was people that were making this point that they were like, I don't want your dumbass Tinder date at my wedding. And it's like, okay, wait, that actually says so much more about you, because the way that you think about your friends, if you're planning your wedding and you're thinking, oh, my single friend, she wants to just bring some dumbass Tinder date and she's going to be on to the next week and it's the pick of the week and she's such a loser. Like, first of all, why do you feel that way about your friend?
Yeah.
You actually think that your friend is a pathetic loser who can't keep a guy and is just like on Tinder all the time and it's the pick of the week. That's how you feel about your friend. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't you feel about your friend, oh my God, I love my friend and I can afford it because money and space isn't an option for this particular wedding. So why not give my friend that I love the option of choosing if she wants to have fun alone or if she wants to have fun with a date.
With a stupid
with a stupid dumbass pick of the week Tinder date. But the thing is, like, I feel like so many people are saying that, like, well, that was one point. And then I feel like the other point to that is so many people being like, you should be able to have fun alone. You shouldn't need to bring a dumbass Tinder date. And I'm like, having fun alone is besides the point. Many people can have fun alone in many different situations. But the thing is, they're choosing that. Right. When I go to the movies alone, I chose to do that. When I go snowboarding alone, I am choosing that. I am picking to go alone. I have the option if I want to invite my friends or not. But then I also have the option to go alone and I choose to go alone. Why don't you just ask your friends what they would prefer?
I think it's hard too because people can have fun. I can have fun alone. I can take my dog to the beach and have fun alone. I can have fun reading my book, doing whatever. I can have fun alone. But the fact of the matter is I've gone to multiple weddings, let's just say, even in the past year. I mean, I've gone to a billion weddings in my lifetime.
You have gone to so many weddings, it's insane.
I have gone to so many weddings this past year that I have gone to alone, and every single wedding I could point out multiple instances where I caught myself alone.
Yeah.
And that is difficult. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's like friends, family. I went as the +1 to someone. I've been the stranger at the +1's wedding. Yeah. Like, I've been the +1 and that person runs off to do their own thing and I'm still by myself. You know what I mean? Right. So I have been by myself at family, friends, strangers' weddings, literally. And I can tell you exactly how I felt in so many moments. And the fact of the matter is I can have fun by myself. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There is no doubt about that. At cocktail hour, you're standing with your man, she's standing with hers. The parents are together, the aunts and uncles are together, you know, the college, whatever. Everyone is together. I'm eating my cheese. I'm like, okay, which group should I try to place myself in right now?
Right.
Which couple that is now signing the guest book together am I going to walk up to and be like, hey, can I sit with you or can I stand with you? Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to have to come up with a topic so that I can walk over to them and say something. Like, I have to insert myself into something right now because I don't have a default person to just turn to or rely on or lean on. And I've literally found myself at multiple cocktail hours like that. I've literally caught myself at dinners. I went to a wedding like a couple months ago where I was just like happened to be sat in between two couples. And I remember turning to my right, saying something to the person that was next to me. And they didn't hear me because their back was turned to me because they were talking to their date. So I turned to my left, said the exact same thing. Exact same thing happened. Back was turned to me. No one was looking at me. People, like, you know, wedding tables are big round tables. They're too far away to just kind of like say something to. Like, you got to flower piece bigger than like the studio. I'm like, I can't see that person over there to talk to them. So I just literally was like, oh, okay. And literally spoke to myself real quick, put my head back in my like weird catered vegetarian dish, whatever I was eating at that wedding, and kept to myself for like the remainder of the meal until someone else scoped me out to say something to me. And it's not because I need someone to come to me. It's because I literally tried, but people are taken by the people they're with. And that's the fact of the matter. And I'm not saying this is like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'm not making it a big deal. But if we're going to talk about the topic, I'm going to explain to you why this is uncomfortable for your single friends.
Yeah, no, 100%. And also, even if you have like those situations where you're like, oh, this couple's off signing the guest book, like this couple's off doing this, even if all of your friends are there, if you're the only one there without a date, there are going to be moments where the couples grab each other like, oh my God, this is our song.
A slow dance too.
Yeah, and they run out to the dance floor, like they're slow dancing, and it's like, okay, your single friend just either gets to F off during that song, or they just get to like look for someone else to dance with, or just go like stand awkwardly in the corner. And you know, some people are like, well, it's not about you, like that's just what you do for your friends. Sure, it's not about me, but like
I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like that is such a moot point in my opinion, because okay, well, I'll finish my other point first. Even if all of your friends are there, if all of your friends are in couples, drinks start flowing, people start getting lovey-dovey on their person, or even if it's just like two best friends and then you're kind of like a third wheel on, and you're like, oh well, my two best friends from high school are gonna be there, so my random college friend who's also single can hang out with them. Is that really fair to them? Like, yes, of course, maybe they could hang out and they could click and the two high school friends could include her, but also the two high school friends, they have their own relationship and they have their own things that they're getting caught up in the conversation, and their own favorite song that they've run out and danced to, and they might be the nicest people in the world, but that doesn't mean they every single second throughout the whole entire wedding ceremony they want to include this stranger, because they're also having fun together. So like, why are you just throwing your one single friend onto these like other smaller groupings of friends? It's just not fair to them, in my opinion.
Right.
And then also to the point of, it's not about you, it's about the couple. Okay, if your wedding isn't about your guests, then why do you spend hundreds if not thousands of dollars on invitation suites that you're going to send to them that are personalized with beautiful calligraphy to every single person you love? And in that invitation suite, many times there is a meal option because you matter and you get to pick what you're going to eat at this wedding. Sometimes there's a card in there that says what song would get you out on the dance floor.
Right.
And
my plus one would. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, literally.
Sorry.
You write your favorite song, the song that you would love to hear, even though it's not about you. And then you go to the wedding and there is like a welcome drink for you. You have a seat reserved for you at the ceremony because there's enough seats for every single guest, because the guests matter. The guests are part of it. Many guests have a reading, or the guests are given like programs and whatever because they are part of it. They want to know what's going on during the ceremony. And then you all walk to cocktail hour and there's an open bar typically with drinks handed to your guests. And then there's food for your guests. There's different types of foods. There's spicy, there's bland, there's international, because not everyone likes the same things and you want to appeal to all of your guests. And then there's a huge seating chart with your first and last name on it because you're a guest and you matter. And then you walk into the reception room and many times there's another piece with your name on it at the table telling you where you're going to sit. Guests are a big part of weddings. Like the idea that you're a guest, it's not about you, that only goes so far. Like if it's not about your guests, then why even have them? If it's not about your guests, then go elope. If you only care about 10 of your guests and those are the 10 that are getting a plus one, just elope with them.
Yeah.
Like it's so annoying that people are like, oh, it's not about you. Yeah, I know that the entire day is not about me. I'm not a dumbass. But as a loving person, and also I feel like this whole argument comes from the bride's side. So as a guest, I'm not saying this to the couples, but this is what I wish that couples would think when they think about their guests and they're trying to be considerate of their guests. And not only their guests, these are people you love. This is your friends, your family. These are people you want to be there to celebrate with you, to dance with you on the dance floor. You should want them to have fun too. And if you don't want them to have fun because it's not about them, it's about me, why are you inviting them? Like truly, why are you inviting them? That just doesn't make sense. And then to all the people that are like low-key criticizing their friends in the comments, like, oh, I don't care that my guests, like if you're single, like I don't care, I don't want to. And then sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to invite the partner either. And I'm like, that's not really a good point either. Like that's still rude. Like, because what the point was, like some people were saying that someone commented and they were saying like, there's this new trend where people are not inviting the partners of their friends. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? At least everyone's
what's
treated...
the line, though? Like, is it boyfriend, engaged,
No,
husband?
like they're literally just not inviting any of them at all.
That is so weird to me.
And I think one person was saying that they did that because they had an intimate wedding where there was like 13 people. And I'm like, all right,
not the point. Yeah.
But that's a different ball game. I'm talking like if you're having an average amount of people at your wedding, 200 to 300 people, and money and space are not a thing. Like those are the situations that I'm talking about. Not these like one-off like elopement, city hall, like dinner with just my immediate family. Like, okay, those are different. And I think we all can realize that. We're talking about the normal wedding. Like when you think of a wedding, it's at a country club, it's at a wedding venue, it's at a banquet hall. There's 150 to 200 to 300 people invited and your parents are paying for it. Money's not a thing. Also, somebody commented when I said something about not everyone has a budget and they're like, don't just assume people's budgets. And I'm like, no, I'm not assuming. I have many friends that got married that told me straight to my face, my parents are paying for the wedding. They will pay for anything. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I'm not assuming shit.
Yeah.
All right, one more point, and then sorry, I feel like I'm going on and on, but there's just so much to say. But anyway, one more thing. I feel like a lot of people in the comments were saying like, this is so crazy. Like not everyone can afford it. Not everyone can blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I know. If my friends came to me and they were like, hey, I know you're single or newly dating someone or whatever, or maybe even dating for a long time. I love you and I love your partner or whatever. I'm really, really sorry, but we're on a tight budget. And I just need to tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to give you a +1. And I'm sorry. And I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. And I hope that you will still want to come, even though I'm going to have to invite you alone. If they came to me and said that, I'd say, baby, don't you blink or don't you
bat an eye.
I don't know if that's... Do not worry one bit, okay?
Yeah.
You're honest with me. You're telling me the truth. I will do anything for you. You're my friend. I care about you. And it's obvious that you care about me too because you came to me and gave me this information honestly and you told me the truth. I feel like so many people, when it comes to +1s, they're like beating around the bush. They're so scared to tell you that you're
definitely beat around the bush.
They're like terrified to tell. They're like, oh, well, we haven't locked down our guest list yet. And like, maybe if this person doesn't come or like, blah, 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 blah. Like,
that's my favorite. Like, oh, they could be on the B list.
I'm like, okay, if you're not going to give it to me, tell me straight.
Yeah.
Tell me straight to my face.
Just
but
let
the
me
thing
plan.
is, you're beating around the bush because you're embarrassed of your decision.
True.
That's just the vibe that I've gotten.
That is true. That
in
is
certain
true.
situations.
Yeah. I think like, what it comes down to, and here's the thing too, like if you're going to sit here and say like, well, if you love your friend, you're going to go, yeah, I do. And I have gone to every single wedding by myself.
Right.
And I'm going to do it no matter what. But I'm still going to sit here and explain to the audience that's listening that maybe hasn't gotten married yet, that it's really uncomfortable. That's what it comes down to. All I'm going to end this conversation with is, I love you. I am grateful to be invited to your wedding. If it's an away wedding where I have to drive, fly, go hours of travel, stay in a hotel, it would be much more convenient to have a +1, but I understand if maybe that's not the case. I will be at your wedding, but just keep in mind that there are going to be multiple points throughout the trip, the night, the events that take place that I am going to be uncomfortable, period.
Yes, that's such a good point to all the people that are like, just don't go. It's also not always that easy because imagine your friend gets married, one of your close friends from high school, you've been lifelong friends with them, and they ask you to be a bridesmaid, and you ask someone to be your bridesmaid like so far ahead.
Totally.
Like a year, sometimes even a year and a half is when someone says, will you be my bridesmaid for my wedding in 18 months? And you're like, yes, of course I'll be your bridesmaid because I love you. You plan the shower, you plan the bachelorette, you buy the dress. 6 weeks before the wedding is when you get the invitation. Mm-hmm. Imagine then you get the invitation that says you don't get a +1. Are you actually supposed to not go? Do you actually expect all the people that are, oh, just don't go if you don't have a +1? This actually happens. Like there are people whose best friends, they're involved in the wedding. If they're not a bridesmaid, they have a role in the wedding or they are a bridesmaid. They find out they don't have a +1 6 weeks before the wedding when they get an invitation in the mail. And you think the solution is to just don't go. That's literally going to ruin your relationship forever.
Right. I'm not here to ruin my relationship with someone that I love.
Yes.
I'm here to explain to you why I'm uncomfortable without a +1.
Yes, exactly. And it's so annoying that you can't just like talk about this without people being like, well, it's not about you. And it's like, okay, that's that's not the conversation we're having.
There's gonna be haters no matter what. People are gonna be mad. And A, if you're mad, you're probably part of the problem. Or B, if you're mad, you're probably just an internet troll. Like, I probably simply don't care about your opinion. And C, if you already got married and you did these things and now you're listening, you can understand. And I'm not saying you should feel bad that you did these things. Right. I'm just saying you can think like, oh, I understand where they're coming from. You don't have to get mad. You don't have to defend why you did it. You don't have to defend why your brother, your uncle, you don't have to defend yourselves. I understand why people do what they do. I understand why I don't have a +1 to every wedding. I get it. I'm just explaining to you that it's not always going to be great for me because I can have fun. I can dance by myself. I can insert myself into groups here and there. If it's a family wedding, I can find my parents and tag along. I mean, I'm not going to be there for the slow dance when they want to be with each other. I get it. I'm just explaining to the people who really truly don't understand why this is a big deal, why it actually can be uncomfortable and awkward for so many people. And it actually can be a lot more stress. Like I said, if it is like I don't even want to use the word destination, but if I have to travel an hour and I get a hotel room and I have to do the drive by myself, I have to get ready in my hotel room alone. I'm going to spend the night by myself because the only other like single person that I know is a friend of a friend. Because it's like, oh, I know the bride from here and she also knows this girl and we know each other, but it's just easier to have someone to rely on in those situations. And especially when it comes to the night of the wedding, I've walked into ceremonies and sat down by myself. The bride and groom walk down the aisle, everyone stands up. I walk into cocktail hour by myself. I walk to the bar, I get my little plate by myself. I look around, where can I insert myself? Conversation ends, people start to break off. I'm gonna hit the bar, I'm gonna do this, that. Okay, I'm now by myself. Hit the bar by myself. Go to the table by myself. Everyone sits down, talks to their significant others. I'm eating my dinner by myself. I understand that that's not the extremity of the situation. Like, it's not like, okay, yeah, you sat and ate dinner by yourself. Like, that doesn't happen to every wedding. You spend the entire dinner, but you do. Yeah. You really do. And I've been there. I've been at tables where couples have had their backs turned to me and they're not doing it to be rude. It's just that they're turned talking to their partner. And it is what it is. I'm not saying like, oh my God, I was in tears because I was alone at the wedding table eating my like vegetarian like grilled tomatoes. Like, I'm just saying that the fact of the matter is people are lonely when they don't get a +1 and it's very, very uncomfortable.
I agree. And if you are getting married, my opinion is you should really consider how your friends are going to feel if you care about your friends.
Yeah. Just think about everything I said and things that have literally happened to me and think, would I want that for my close friend just because she doesn't have, or he or she doesn't have a significant other at this time?
That is such a good point. Can I just say it again? Would you want your best friend or close friend or relative that you love to feel this way at your party just because they haven't found their soulmate yet?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Should we move on?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll bring it up in the next episode.
Yeah, I probably will. Oh my God, these are all so sad. These topics are so sad.
I should have brought the sunglasses again. I'm going to start crying.
Yeah, literally. All right, I guess we'll just start with any random one.
Hit me.
Oh no, I can't start with that one. It's so sad. Okay, this is an interesting debate. Is it so wrong to only want single friends? I don't have anything against being friends with people in relationships, nor am I saying I can't be friends with them. But I'm so tired of being the single friend that I just want other single friends to hang out with. I have plenty of friends who are married or in relationships. They're great. I'm just tired of being the only third wheel and the only single friend. Whenever I post something about this, I'm flooded with people who are in relationships, but usually lonely or just looking for someone to talk to. And while I'm sure their significant other is a great person, I'm not really interested in continuing to be a third wheel. Is this wrong?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong.
What's even to debate? You're allowed to not want to be a third wheel, period. Ever.
Oh, yeah.
You're allowed to want solo friends that fly solo, because guess what? One of these days you're going to be sitting at a dinner table with them. They're going to turn to say something to the other person. You're going to sit there with your face in your vegetarian catered pasta dish and you're going to be the third wheel, period. Like,
you're vegetarian.
Sorry.
Your vegetarian mushroom slice. I've literally
Sorry, I'm a hater on the vegetarian option at weddings, even though I eat it, just because it's always really sad. It's always really sad. Sometimes it's, you know what? Recently I was at a wedding and I got half of an onion. Like, I'm not kidding. It was literally an onion. It was just half of an onion, and then there was 3 cold hard noodles, like penne noodles on it, and then there was like 1 grilled tomato, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
And then one of my friend's boyfriends that was at the table with me was like so bold as to say, that onion looks good. And I was like, bro, nothing about that onion looks good. That is an onion. But he ate it. And you know what he said? It wasn't that good.
No, they never are. No, wedding food is never good. Sorry. I've never had wedding food where I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. It's never crossed my mind.
I did once, but it was a caterer that was brought in.
Oh, you know what? That's okay. That is different. If it's a catering company and it's at like an estate, like a private home or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that is actually good.
Yeah,
but just like a
different.
wedding, no.
Yeah.
Wedding
Anyway,
venue.
sorry. No, there's no debate. You're allowed to want solo friends to fly solo with. But keep that, if you find that one friend and they're solo, keep that person in your heart real deep when you find your significant other and they're feeling the way you're feeling right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can do whatever you want. And is it wrong to only want friends that are single? Like, no, it's not wrong. It would be wrong
if you were like wishing that your friends would break up and like, that's when it would be wrong. But it's not wrong to like wish you had a bunch of friends in the same situation as you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely great to find people that are at the same stage of life as you and you can do things together and relate to them in the same way. Like engaged people probably relate to engaged people and parents relate to parents. I do feel though that you would kind of in a way be doing yourself a disservice if you were trying to make friends in general and anyone that told you, yes, I have a significant other, you just immediately ruled them out because of that reason. I do think that on your search, you can maybe search for the single people a little more hard and a little stronger, but I don't know if someone being in a relationship is like, and like if they're perfect in every way, and you're like, damn, but they're just in a relationship, but we get along so well. It's like, obviously don't rule them out.
Right.
But no, I totally understand where you're coming from because,
and it's difficult too because so many couples don't separate. Like you are always the third wheel. Like very rarely does your girlfriend come out and like leave her significant other like home in the crate for the day. Like very rarely.
Not the crate.
Like leave him in the crate, sweetie. He can stay home for a couple hours.
Yeah.
But it's just rare. Like people always want their other person there. And then even when they are by themselves, they sit down and they're like, let me tell you about my person. So I get it. I totally get it. It's not wrong. Keep hunting for those solo girlies that we're here for you.
Your point leads into another question that I think is also a good debate, and it is, why do friends feel the need to try to bring their partner on hangouts? I'm 20, single my whole life, also a third wheel my whole life. The one thing that I can't seem to crack is this kind of scenario. Me, hey, I was wondering if you wanted to go do blank with me. Them, oh yeah, sure, can I bring my boyfriend along? I've gotten this for ages and I always find it odd to be asked this. Can you bring your boyfriend that I barely know on this activity that I planned with you? I just find it to be so inappropriate. Like, you can hang out with me without your partner for a day. You're not the same person. It's strange and I never know how to approach this or respond. Maybe just tell me you want to hang out with your boyfriend that night rather than drag me into it.
I think that's an age thing.
I think it's an age thing, but I do think that some people never stop. But I do think it is a huge age thing. And I feel like early 20s is when it's like a lot of people have their first relationship.
Yeah. And I think I used to feel that way. And I know I used to feel that way, but I think I grew into how I feel now. Like when you've been single your whole life and all of your friends for the most part are single, or even if it's just half and half, people are all in relationships and they're like, can I bring my +1 or whoever? And you're like, well, we just made these plans. Like, it's hard in the beginning to be like, oh, well, are you just never gonna leave this person again? Like, especially in high school and college, you're like, all right, come on, like, do something without them for once. You're not the same person. Like, that the verbiage she used, you're not the same, you be your own person. Like, I said that for years and years and years. But now I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to use the term I've accepted it, because I don't want it to sound that it has a negative connotation, but it just kind of has settled in the way that there is always going to be the +1 there, period. Like, it is very rare at this point in my life for me to invite someone and to not expect their boyfriend, fiance, husband to come with us. And it is what it is. Like, I don't feel any negative energy towards it at all, whereas in my teenage years and in my early 20s, I probably did. I definitely did. I was like, come on, like, can you hang out without them for like once? moments, like they're always around, or can we do something ourselves and like talk about boys, whatever. I totally felt that way, and I simply don't feel that way anymore. And there was definitely a point in time where I was like, is this how it's gonna be? I'm never gonna see Rebecca again without her boyfriend, whatever. Like, I'm never gonna see this person again by themselves. Oh my God, that's crazy. And now I'm like, okay, it is what it is. This person's always with their person, and they love them, and I love them, and that's how it is. We all go out together. Unfortunately, it is. I mean, unfortunately in this person's case, because I see where they're coming from. Yeah. But as you get older and life hits you more, you start to realize that that's life. That's growing older.
I do think that to an extent that is true. Like, it's kind of like when you're talking and saying that, I was like, oh, it kind of sounds like a twin. Like when you're growing up throughout school, if there's twins in your class and you really bond with one of them, it's almost like rude to invite one over your house. At least all the twins that we were friends with growing up, if you were friends with one, you were friends with both.
Totally.
And it happened to work out for us. Like all of our friends that were twins, we really did love both of them. But I'm sure it's happened where someone is friends with a twin and they vibe with one way more than the other. But growing up, it's like your parents will not even let you invite that one twin without inviting the other one, because they want you to be nice and inclusive and include everyone. And they're a pair and they go places in pairs. And I kind of feel like it's similar when you're in a relationship as a young adult, because it's like these two humans like come together and they create a pair, and then they are literally partners and they do life together as partners. And I can see how it can be so annoying, because you're like, okay, I'm literally never gonna see you again without this person. But I do think that if it's a close friend, or even if it's not a close friend, there is a very nice way to set your expectations for what the hangout is gonna be.
Totally.
And I think that as a friend, you should want to hang out with your friends' partners at certain points, because if they're your friends, like, why would you not want to hang out with their partners? But there are also times where if you want to hang out with just your friend and they say, can I invite my boyfriend? This person said, I never know what to say in these situations. You can just say exactly how you feel, which is, oh, well, I was thinking we would just do this together, but maybe the three of us can hang out this day or another time, or do this activity. Or I was really hoping to do this activity and spend some one-on-one time together. I've been missing you. I've been missing hanging out one-on-one, and I was really excited to do that this weekend. It can be so simple, and it's not offensive at all to tell someone that you would love to see them one-on-one, because it has nothing to do with their boyfriend. It just has to do with you and this person. Because imagine if they asked to invite any other person. It's not that you automatically just don't like that person and don't want to invite them, but you're allowed to crave one-on-one time with your friend.
Right.
And you're allowed to tell them that, and it's not rude and it's not offensive. And if they get offended by that, I think you can just communicate further. And if they can't understand that, then I just think that it's like a level of you
Probably
can only
toxicity, honestly.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, people will only understand you to their level of understanding. So like if you're a diving pool that's 13 feet deep and they're a kiddie pool, they're never gonna understand you.
Right.
And it will create problems that maybe you're just not compatible as friends if they can't understand that you want to hang out with them one-on-one sometimes without anyone's partner involved.
Right.
Also, if you're a girl, it's so, or actually it doesn't even matter. I mean, I was going to say the word girls night, but then I was like, all genders have that.
Yeah.
So if you are the same gender as your friend, just be like, oh, let's have a whatever gender night. Girls night. Got like, my guy friends have.
Just call it gender night.
Gender night. No, my guy friends have bro fest and the girls are not invited. Like they're like, you guys are not coming. They have it. They have a formal bro fest at least once a year. If we're like, oh, let's all hang out this night, they're like, no, we can't hang out. We are having bro fest. It's like this sacred thing to them that like helps them maintain this friend group.
Boyhood.
And, no, really though. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It is kind of cute that they care enough to plan this.
My dog was invited to their last one.
Oh my God,
and he's a boy.
Yeah, he is a boy. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think that this situation has to be as deep as this person is like feeling about it. Like obviously there's moments where it does really hit you and like your sadness.
I do think they're young. Like I think I think like 20, you're basically still a teenager.
Yeah.
Like you've been in college for maybe a year, maximum 2 years. If you're not in college, like you've been out of school for a year. Like I think that you're still a kid, and A, like people are still learning how to be in real adult relationships.
Right.
And B, like you have haven't dealt with adulthood and years of therapeutic, open and honest communication.
No, really. Yeah.
So you just have to learn it. You really do just have to learn it. Like, you're young, and I know for a fact that at that age, I felt that way. B, didn't know what to say to my friends. And C, just didn't feel that I could find the right words to like explain how I was feeling without seeming like offensive.
Yeah.
And now I do think that I could have, if I wanted to have those conversations, I could, yet at the same time, I just kind of accept, not in a bad way, like I accept that the plus one is always going to be there because I love them too.
Right. Yeah, I do think it just really depends on the situation you're in that moment. All right, moving on. This one's kind of sad.
Oh no.
Why do friends in relationships barely acknowledge their single friends? I'm in my mid-30s and have never been very successful at relationships, so I've spent a long time doing things and being on my own. Since my early 20s, people I thought of as my friends who have found their special it person have literally backed away, cut contact, etc. Although you see on social media they socialize with other couples a lot. One girl in my office a few years ago tried to set me up with two of her boyfriend's friends, yet none of my friends outside work have ever wanted to help. Over the years, a few ladies at work said it is because they are jealous or insecure around single people, which I think is ridiculous. I felt very low this past weekend and reached out to a girl probably 20 minutes away asking if we could arrange a coffee. She had just bought a house with her boyfriend and my message has never been opened. It just feels like once people have their happiness, they feel like no one else matters.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. That is very real. And I'm not saying that that's like the overall arching, but it happens for sure. Yeah. A lot of people just get married and fall off the wagon. Like, people really do just, and it is sad. And I understand the like, oh, no one wanted to set me up with this person. And I hate the like, oh, they're just jealous comment. But oftentimes it is truly jealousy. Like, if you can't find a real good reason why someone won't like you, do something for you, try to help you, a truly good reason, it probably is jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, truly. People they don't do it out of like superficial jealousy. It's not like, oh, well, I'm jealous of her, so I'm not gonna, but it's like deep down in their gut. What were they thinking that they were like, oh, I'm not gonna help them? Like, truly, if you had love and no jealousy in your heart for this person, you would want to help them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially if they ask. Like, I guess I can see it from the way of like, have you ever asked them to help you find someone?
Right.
Because if you haven't, then honestly, you may find it to be annoying if the opposite was true and all they ever did was, you should find this person, you should find your, like, try this person, go on a date with it. You might be like, all right, relax, bro, like, you know, I'm happy how my life is now. Like, but because they never try to set you up, you're probably seeing it as like they don't care about you, but which maybe they don't care about you, but they could also care about you and still not try to set you up with someone every 2 seconds. So if you want them to, I would say ask if they could help you, if they know anyone, and if then they don't make an effort, but maybe they just don't know anyone is the thing. Like, I feel like that isn't what you should base your like friendships on in this situation. Yeah. I also think that just as a whole, maintaining friendships takes so much effort and so much time and consideration. And as we get older and our lives get busier, people just prioritize other things. And I think that especially when you graduate college, it is when you really see which of your friends you were friends with because of proximity and because it was easy to see them, and which of your friends you are friends with because you guys both care to maintain this friendship and this relationship, and you both put in effort and you go out of your way to make plans and see each other. So many people don't do that, and I think those are the people that wind up adults that don't have a lot of friends. So if you want to have friends, you need to put effort into friendships, even if you're married, even if you have kids. And I know there can be times when you are so busy and you don't have time to put effort into friendships. That's okay. But if you choose to never try again, you can't wonder why you don't have friends as an adult. It's because you didn't put effort into your friendships. It's just as simple as that. And I think another thing is not everyone is good at doing that. So many people don't know how to put effort in, or their brain doesn't work in the way where they're like, I need to text my friends, I need to talk to my friends, I need to make plans with my friends. They just don't think about it. And then you go down this like cycle and this line of not seeing people, not talking to them. And the longer you don't talk to them, the longer you don't talk to them. Same thing with like meeting up with people. The longer longer you don't see your friends, the more normal it is to not see your friends. And eventually you haven't seen them in a year, 2 years, 3 years. And now you don't even have any friends. And then it's like, well, how did this happen? It's because you need to text your friends. You need to hang out with them. You need to talk to them. I know it's like easier said than done, but if there's people that you're putting effort into that aren't giving you effort back, maybe they aren't capable of maintaining friendships as an adult. And are those people that you really need in your life? Or can you try to make friends that maybe they're new friends, but they're actually capable of having friendships? So why do people in relationships want nothing to do with single people? I don't think they want nothing to do with single people. I think that they are blind to the realities of the real world. And the reality is that relationships, even platonic ones, take effort. And you cannot ignore all of your platonic friendships just because you have one romantic relationship and expect your platonic friends to never leave you. I feel like it sucks because all of the things that I feel like I'm thinking on these episodes about single friends, it starts with the people that are in relationships.
Absolutely.
It's like, if
all we can do is preach and hope that the people in relationships get it. And if you're single and you're feeling these ways, or you're hearing the ways that people are feeling, just remember it. Please, 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 like, grasp onto it and hang on tight to it when you are in a relationship, whether that be you want someone to set you up with someone, or you want a +1 to a wedding, or you want your couple friends to not make you the third wheel, or you want someone to still reach out to you even once they buy a house. Remember these things when you're the one doing those things. That's all you can do.
It's so true, because it's like, you can't make your coupled friends reach out to you and try harder. You can ask them to. You can be honest about how you feel and ask them to put more effort in, but you can't control their actions. But you can control your actions when you are in a relationship and when you have kids and when you're married. And if you can't put effort in just communicating to see each other physically, you can communicate that to your friends when you have time. But I think that people just forget about that, and then it just trickles down a line. And it's the same thing as like the wedding +1. Like, yes, us as guests, we cannot control this. We can't, like, if my friend doesn't give me a +1, I'm probably still going to go to their wedding because I love them, you know?
Period.
It's like, this needs to be on the feeds of the people that are in relationships, because those are the people that need to learn these lessons and change the way that they act in order to still like love and have consideration for their single friends, and also maintain relationships with their single friends. As for the jealousy thing, maybe they're jealous of you, maybe they're not. I just think that people are living in their own worlds and they don't think about you as much as you think.
That's exactly what it is.
And it sucks because, like, we don't think about our friends. I mean, some people probably do, but it's like, you don't think about every single friend you've ever had every day. You know, you live your own life too, and they're living their own life too. So,
and it's not that they don't want to set you up with anyone. They either don't know anyone, or they're just like not thinking about it every day of their life. I mean, sometimes people in your life are thinking about it every day of your life, and suddenly your aunt is calling you, telling you that she met someone in an airplane that she wants to set you up with and got their Skype. But not everyone thinks like that. So I understand, like, jealousy totally can be a thing. We all have seen the ugly side of it in our lives and why people don't want to do things, but it also can very well be that you are just not their priority. You are just not what's on the front of their mind when they walk into a bar, meet a group of people. They're not like, I'm going to set you up with my girlfriend, I'm going to set you up with my guy friend. It just is what it is. People find their priorities and they pick and choose them, and I'm not saying like give up on them, but comes with life that people are not going to prioritize you, and it's sad, but sometimes then they're not worth your time in the long run. I'm not saying like, you know, they don't answer you for one cup of coffee. I'm saying after years and years of trying and them just completely wanting nothing to do with it, don't waste your energy. Find someone who wants to match your energy.
I do think that it's like, that's also way easier said than done, but it's like the person in the last story that's like, I only want to make single friends. Like, this is the reason why. So maybe you do the same thing. Maybe you put yourself out there and attempt to make more friends that are going through the same stage of life as you, because those are the people that are probably living life in a similar way. Therefore, your paths can cross more easily than maybe someone who is like homeschooling their children every day, because they probably never have time to hang out with you, a single person. So I don't think it's a bad thing to try to make more friends that are on a similar life path. I also think we can cut our friends, like if you have a lifelong friend who's been an amazing friend to you for years and years and years, if they just got married or if they're pregnant and they just had a baby or whatever, they're going through this brand new period of life that's very time consuming, we don't automatically have to rule them out and be like, you haven't asked me to hang out, we're done.
Right. I know you just popped out a 10-pounder, but like, where's my phone call?
Right.
I get it.
Like, we have to cut people slack. Life and relationships go through transitions and they ebb and flow constantly. So you don't need to completely cut people off, but I do think it will only help us to just accept that friendships are not everyone's priority at every point in their life. And if your friends are going through a phase where friendships aren't their priority, maybe that's a good time to start investing your time in other people, other things, other activities. And then when the ebbs and flows come back and these reliable friends are now in a period of life where they do have time to prioritize friendships, maybe that's when you come back together. But I'm not going to be honest, like some people, you will not be friends with them ever again.
Oh,
they're
I've
not
totally,
meant for you. So yes, it is sad to go through a friendship breakup, but I've lost many friends over my entire life. I mean, not many, but a good handful of people. And also like not even just like losing friends, but people that I was very close with that I'm just not anymore.
Right.
It's sad at first, but then you just fill your life with other people that you love just the same or even more.
Yeah.
And that's just life. So yeah, it's sad, but there are people out there that will give you the same energy back. Totally. You just have to find them.
Yeah. And you lose friends for a reason.
Yeah, so true. Very true.
It hurts more to lose a player on the Eagles. Let's be so for real.
Depends on who it is. Okay. This I feel like is kind of a quicker one because I feel like we both have opinions on this. Is it embarrassing to be the single friend? I'm supposed to be going away with friends for a bonfire weekend, and originally it wasn't a couple thing, but now partners have been invited and it's me and 3 couples going and all staying in the same place. I feel like people will be looking at me when we go out for dinner and everything. Has anyone else experienced being the single friend like this? Is it something that I should back out of?
Hell no.
It is literally not embarrassing whatsoever.
It's embarrassing to be in a relationship. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's not embarrassing whatsoever. This made me so sad to read because I was like,
you can literally be the hot single friend.
Yes.
In fact, the cool single friend that turns heads when all those couples walk through.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, in fact, if you're at a restaurant and you're the only single person, people are going to give you more attention because you are going to be the interesting one that is going to be able to accept a conversation from a flirty suitor.
Yeah, no, I remember going on a girls' trip one time many years ago with, I think there was like 5 or 6 of us on the trip. And I think I might have been the only single one at the time, or I don't remember. I think we were in Nashville, which is like the biggest bachelorette town. Every group would come up to us and be like, so which one's getting married? And I remember at the time, 1 or 2 of the couple friends being like, oh, Erin's the single friend. Let's say it's her bachelorette. And I was like, keep my name out your mouth. Like, do not. Let's make one thing clear. I am the single friend.
Yeah.
And I'm proud.
Yeah.
All right? Because I'm in my prime right now. And I've been in my prime every year since then. Okay?
Yes.
But I'm not on my bachelorette. That's for damn sure. Okay? So line up.
For a long time.
And it's not embarrassing.
And that's a choice
Line
I've
up,
made.
men. Line up.
Yeah, no, that's literally not embarrassing whatsoever. And I would think if you don't want to go on the trip, it actually has nothing to do with the fact that it's embarrassing. I think it would only have to do with the fact that it's giving the same energy as not having a +1 to a wedding.
Yeah. Uncomfortable or just not wanting to go is different than you being embarrassed. And if you're embarrassed, sit down and let's have a talk about it because there is no reason to be.
Yeah. It's also, it's kind of sad that they planned this trip and then after the fact is when the couples or the partners or whatever got invited.
Yeah.
Because like, it's so annoying because it's like, if you plan a couples trip, it is gonna be a couples trip. Sure, give your friends the option to come even if they're single, like invite them. But there is just a vibe. Well, okay, I've actually never been on a couples trip, but I would assume because I've been on trips with couples that if everyone's in a couple, there is a vibe on couples trips.
Totally.
And it is much different than the vibes on a singles trip. And I personally, if I was single, I would not want to step foot on the plane with couples trip travelers But it's not because I'm embarrassed.
On spring break.
It's not.
Put me in the front of the plane.
Exactly. Not because I'm embarrassed, because I don't want to have to watch all that for 5 days and 6 nights or whatever.
5 days and 6 nights.
6 nights, 5 days. What are they? 6 days, 5 nights at the all inclusive. Okay, I'm not dealing with that. You guys can go yourself. I'll go to Vegas,
and I will not be embarrassed.
No, heck no. Anyway, so no, it's not embarrassing whatsoever. But if you want to drop out because you don't feel like seventh wheeling, I completely support that, because I kind of feel like it's a little bit messed up that your friends would plan like a girls trip or just a friends trip and then all of a sudden be like, everyone, let's bring a date.
Except you, because you're single.
Exactly. So once again, what that person commented on our TikTok so perfectly, it's not that you don't have a date, it's that everyone else does. And that's the annoying thing.
Period.
My best friend will only go out with me if her boyfriend comes along.
No, that's toxic. Period. Next.
No, seriously. I, 27 female, have a best friend of 7 years, and we've always had an amazing friendship. I've been by her side when she was single and when in relationships. This new relationship she's in is a bit different. Her and I have always enjoyed going out together once in a while. We like to go to bars and dance, but now that she's in this new relationship, I can't see her without her boyfriend around. I could go over to her apartment, but that's about it. If I invite her out to lunch, to dinner, or go out, then she says that her boyfriend has to come. Wait, has to come?
That's why I said toxic.
Yeah, this might actually just be toxic.
This sounds manipulative, or like, what's it called?
Oh my gosh,
controlling.
Yeah, like when they're trying to like remove you from your friends.
Yeah, no, that's how this sounds. This doesn't sound like, oh, she just has to bring him.
Right.
It sounds like she has to bring him.
Yeah.
She's not allowed out.
I don't usually mind my friends' boyfriends, but this guy is very toxic in many ways, so I already don't like him for my friend, but I also want to be able to enjoy time with her. She says that he will bring a friend, but I'm not trying to get stuck talking to some random just so I can be around her. Part of me feels bad because I know she's trying to find a middle ground so her boyfriend can be happy and I can enjoy a night out, but at the same time, I don't look forward to seeing him with her. Basically, I'm at a loss and I feel like I'll be a bad friend if I don't just give in and tell her she can bring the boyfriend. Mind you, she's asked me about 4 times, including, okay, wait, 4 times? 4 times? That's it? That's not that many. Including for my birthday plans. Okay, this could go either way. I was gonna say it's kind of a case of like, you should be able to put your boundaries up and say, no, I want to just hang out with you and then we can hang out all together another time. But
no, finding a middle ground and being like, I want your boyfriend to be happy. No, this isn't about your boyfriend being, if you're telling me this man is toxic, she has to bring him, like she's not allowed out without him, we got a bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's a bigger fish to fry. I feel like the problem isn't even that like the boyfriend always comes along. That's just like what it's manifesting as.
Yeah, no.
But also,
she's like portraying this as like oh, he's always there, like he just has to be there. Like, this is not a little tuna.
Yeah.
This is like
the big kahuna.
The big one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think tunas are big.
They can be, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I also think though, not to cut this toxic guy any slack, but let's say this is like a healthy relationship that your best friend just entered.
She's just excited.
And it's only happened 4 times. I thought you were saying like this is like months and months of making plans every single day or like multiple times a week. 4 times is not that much, actually.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
Unless
that would
you
be
only
in, like,
see each other once a month and
true.
It's been 4 months,
it's
you
been
haven't
4
seen
months,
her. Yeah.
True. Yeah. Okay.
We need more details.
Yeah, we need more details. I feel like I can't. I don't know. I do think the first thing you should say though is, are
Drop
you
him.
okay?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, kind of like, are you okay? Like, let's hang out without him.
We need to talk.
And yeah, we need to talk. I really need to talk to you. And if she says like, oh, can the boyfriend come? Say, I really, really need one-on-one time with you as a best friend. I need to talk to you about something. Mm-hmm. And if she says my boyfriend has to come, then that's a whole other situation.
Then you call the police.
And then yeah, honestly, you can call her parents. You can call her loved ones.
Yeah,
you can
we've
call
got another problem.
Someone else needs to be involved.
That's the big tuna.
Yeah, and you can ask her, is the reason that your boyfriend always has to come a decision you're making or a decision he's making? And if she says, oh, I'm making it, and you can tell she genuinely means it, that's when you can say, oh my God, okay.
But not okay.
But
right now.
Yeah, we need to also hang out one-on-one, but also if it's his decision, it's everything we said before.
Yeah.
Authorities need to be called. Just kidding, but not really.
Anyway.
Case
closed.
Okay, this is kind of something me and Rebecca touched on in the past. I'm sad that I'm single. I've heard 2 types of advice. The first is to love yourself, learn to be happy on your own, and keep busy doing activities and hobbies. I do love myself, and I have a lot of activities and hobbies. I'm never bored, but I feel like I'm just distracting myself from the underlying sadness that's always there and always finds me the moment I slow down. The second is to take action. It's like if you lost your job, you wouldn't try to be happy without a job. You'd do applications and interviews and networking to get a new job. If you're sad about being single, it's telling you how important it is to you. So you have to date a lot of people and put yourself out there. Well, I've been doing that too. I've dated a lot of guys and I do things like go to the bar alone and lots of other social activities. My most recent string of dates was so bad and I found myself unable to put on a cheery, happy effort that's needed when you're dating. I started absolutely dreading my dates and becoming exhausted with constantly searching and worrying about it. So I deleted apps because I need a break. I'm not sure where to go from here. I just want to not care about it anymore.
I think she needs a break.
I think, yeah, I feel like you need a break, but
I'm not saying it's because you need to learn to love you. I hear you, girl. You're doing all the right things. Dating world is hard right now. 2024 sucks. Like, the world is a scary place and people are terrible. Take a break, do some of your solo things for a little bit, and then get back on the market again. Yeah, I think she's doing everything right.
Yeah, I think something I just want to say is like the way that she wrote, I've heard 2 pieces of advice. Love yourself or put effort in. Both are true.
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
And she's doing both. She's doing it all.
And I feel like this is where it gets like tricky when it comes to people that are like, you need to try or you just need to let it happen. People that are in relationships just say things like they don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, not that they don't know what they're talking about, but I just feel like when your single friend needs advice or is venting to you about like, I'm really lonely, I want to meet someone, you want to make your friend feel better by being like, oh, it'll happen when you least expect it. But sometimes your friends just need to hear like, oh, that sucks. And being lonely is okay. And it's okay to want a partner. And it's okay to be sad that you're single. I guess it's not okay to sulk in it and fall into a depression because that's not healthy. So obviously that's not okay. But it is really annoying when you are honest about how you feel about being single and that you're sad about being single and people try to take you out of that sadness rather than being like, yeah, it sucks when you're really wanting a partner, you can't find one. And when you're really ready to find your person and start a relationship and you just can't find them. Like that actually sucks because to a certain extent, you can't control it.
Totally.
Sure, you can date a million people and it is a numbers game. Like eventually you are going to meet the person that you're meant to be with, but it could take hundreds or it could take like 4. Like you really have no idea. And like you can't control exactly when you meet them to an extent.
Yeah.
So that does suck. And I think that you're allowed to feel however you actually feel. And you don't really need to take the advice that people in relationships are giving you if it's not making you feel better about your situation.
But she's also doing like all the best things you can do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to sit here and give my advice. Like, take a break, girl. Like, you have been through the ringer with these dates. Like, this world sucks. Take a break, regroup, clear the apps.
Yeah.
Start them over.
Yeah. I do.
Move to a new city, change your name,
start a new life, get a new job.
Right. Yeah. Take a break. And I'm not saying it's going to make it any easier or it's going to make you less sad, but you are doing the right things. I'm glad you love yourself. I'm glad you have activities that make you happy. Give yourself some time and it'll happen when you least expect. No, but like for real, like keep working on it. You're doing everything you can. It sucks. But
yeah. I also think you can try to think about like what kind of partner you would want to be with and then go put yourself in the places where that person is. And that would help. For
like example, in the dugout at the Phillies game.
I was literally just going to say, for example, or like, I don't even know the person, but it was like a friend really wanted to date a pro athlete. So she found out where certain pro athletes hang out in Philly and she went and sat at the bar. And eventually the pro athletes came in and she met one. And then he was flying her around the world and putting her up in the Four Seasons. And it worked out. So
I think it didn't, but no,
it didn't work out. It did not work out in the long run. But that's because they weren't meant to be. But in the right situation.
Find where your person is and place yourself there.
Yeah.
Whether that be like your favorite dive bar, whether that be where the pro athletes hang out, whether that be the Stop the Internet studio. find where you think that your type of person would be and place yourself there for sure.
Yeah, I also think that just talking about wanting to meet someone is something that's like frowned upon. But I remember one of Erin's friends saying this because she was talking about the law of attraction and like manifestation. And she was like, it's actually not just this woo-woo thing, because if you walk around being like, yeah, I'm so happy single, I'm fulfilled, I don't care, I don't need no man. When your friend meets the most amazing eligible bachelor, they're gonna be like, oh, well, she's fine, she's fulfilled, she don't need no man.
Right.
But if you tell your friends, honestly, I am lonely and I'm not desperate. I'm not going to settle for some loser, but I am lonely and I am really ready to meet my person that's meant for me. Then when your friend meets this perfect eligible bachelor, they're going to think, wow, she's ready for her soulmate. Let's see if he's the match, you know? So I think be honest about how you feel with your friends, but also you can straight up tell your friends, all I need from you in response is that freaking sucks and I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we'll work on it.
Yeah. I feel like that was good.
Yeah. Another hour plus of justice for the single friends.
I know. And we could talk 3 more hours about the wedding plus one.
We could do another singles episode, but we should also do like a justice for the relationship friends.
I don't know what they would need justice for.
That's
truly.
true.
But you know what? Maybe that's good. Maybe
comment that.
I was just going to say that. Maybe the people that are in relationships, what do you feel like is unjustified about your situation? How are you not being treated well?
By your single friends?
By your single friends, by the world.
For real.
What does the world expect of couples that really is unfair to these couples?
Timelines. Like,
Timelines,
when are you going to get
sure.
married? When are you going to buy a house? When are you going to have kids? When are we going to have grandkids? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's very true.
Timelines is, I think, the number one thing that couples complain about. Like, expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so other than that,
yeah, so we'll put that in the
problems.
List. Yeah. Let us know if you have any other thoughts for us to discuss. It is interesting getting into the more nuanced situations and like specifics.
But leave your comments because it gives us more to talk about and more to get riled up about.
Yeah. Also, I do feel like in a way these things we talked about today are still not even nuanced. So it would be fun to like break down like specific situations of like, my friend just texted me this about her destination wedding. Like, what exactly should I stay back? Here's every single detail. Yeah. And we'll tell you what to say.
Totally. Cool.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.